welcome back. As we saw last time, I'm working on a 7¼ inch gauge coal wagon, much like the ones up behind me. Probably going to be a coal wagon, but rolling stock to go behind the 7¼ scaled up from the plastic 3D printed wagons. So got my wheels, got my axle boxes, might need to clean them up still, and I've also found a scrap axle from my 7¼ wagon. Now the diameters of the wheels and the bosses in the middle, holes in the middle, are smaller than the diameters of whatever came off this axle. So I have offered this up into the chassis, and I don't know if you can see, there is a line drawn just there, which is where the axle boxes land. So I need to turn further across to the bearing diameter, which I haven't decided what to do yet, and turn down the fit into the wheel. Now, we don't just want to go into the 3D printed wheel ideally, so I did just clean it up using an expanding reamer in the drill. I looked for a reamer the right size. I didn't have a normal reamer, so I had to go through my box of expanding reamers, and that's how we're doing it. So I can now put this in the lathe and turn down that to the size of the wheel. Let's go. So the axle's set up in the lathe. First things first, there's the line that I need to go to for the size of the bearing, and then beyond there is where the wheel will sit. So I need to take up to that line down lower than the diameter of the wheel. I was going to just do the wheels to begin with and then deal with the ends of the axles after I've done the axle boxes. But I decided to, I very quickly found a bit of off-cut material in my box. I've drilled and reamed it to the next size lower than this. So this is about 1/2 inch, but because I want to return it and get it all good, I've gone for 7/16. So the next thing I'll do, take this down to below the diameter of the wheel, and then I'll machine that to 7/16, spin it around and do the same again. I suppose it'd be worth mentioning the reasoning for drilling this to the right size for the bearings. It's so that when I've machined it to size, I can try something on the end of the axle. It's been done with the same reamer I'm going to use for the axle box bearings, and yeah, we'll see how we go. So that's the first end done. The wheel is a good fit. If you saw me trying it every now and again, this is going to be interesting one-handed. There we go, that'll push on nicely. And I put a couple of grooves in, which I will put some Loctite in, or super glue or whatever. So I'll put some glue in there, then push the wheel on once I've done the other side. So other end to do, and then another axle to do, and then we're going to be there. So a little while ago I was talking to David at Owl Castings. Bit of a shout out to them. I've chatting to him every now and again. He's always supportive of this channel. So with the axles made, I still need to put the wheels on properly, so that's just on there for now. My attention turns to the axle boxes. So I need to make a bush bearing to go in the inside to accept the axle. Now a little while ago I was talking to David at Owl Castings. I see them on Facebook every now and again. They do a great job with helping so many people out with bespoke castings and all sorts of things. I've talked to him every now and again. He's always offered me castings for anything I'm doing, but I've never had a need for castings as yet. I still keep trying to think of something I can do that would need a casting, but all the while I'm repairing, it's not really come along. Maybe when I start doing something new. However, I did think, oh, it's always so awkward getting stock material. I was hoping for some small diameter cast iron for doing axle box bushes and bearings. And I gave him a shout and said, look, any offcut sprues, end of the pot, make some sticks. And he sent me 2 or 3 of these. So what I'm going to do, chop it about there, because it's too big to go up the headstock of my lathe. Otherwise I'd have gripped it and machined that down. But it's too big for my lathe, for the headstock. So what I'll do is I'll probably slice it about there. That way I can grip a bit here, turn that down, turn it to the diameter to fit in the axle boxes. Whether I then slice it and then drill and bore them individually, or whether I drill them, bore them, or ream them as one, I don't know yet. So that's going to be the next thing. So I'll put that in the bandsaw, chop it off, and then we can deal with them as 2 smaller pieces. As it happens, he sent me 2 like this and 1 much bigger one. So that may come in useful, but this will be enough to do 1 wagon, I believe. So if you're watching, thank you very much. Really useful. If you ever have a small diameter sprues, it'd be brilliant. When I'm doing the bushes and axle box, like coupling rod bushes on the 5-inch, 3.5 locos, the smallest I tend to be able to find is 1 inch to buy, which there's nothing wrong with using that. It's just a lot of machining off the outside. It seems very wasteful to waste that much cast to get down to the small diameter that's in the bushes. So let's get cracking. Now there's something that's probably interesting at paint drying. Let's get to the next stage. I don't know how well you can hear, but it's in the lathe and it's chomping away. Let's take a look. So I'm just going on the power feed. Tip tools, about 40 thou cut at a time, so it's taking a couple of mil each pass, and we're gradually getting further along, making it parallel. But it's going to be a long process, so you don't want to see that. I'll show it to you when it's usable. The carbide tip tools do like big cuts, so where with a high speed steel I might take 20 or 30 thou, 40 thou easy. I mean, if it was a constant cut I might even go more than that, because it's sort of hammering where it's not quite round. It's much easier to take 40 thou. It seems to be coping fine, but yeah, we'll come back to you in a while. So I'm back at it. As you can see, the majority of it has been turned to size, and we're now, because it's a bit long to start drilling and boring or reaming the whole lot. I think the diameter is a bit small for my boring bow anyway, so it's a drill and ream scenario. I'm just going to turn each one off already machined to size diameter wise, and then individually put them in the lathe, drill them and ream them. So there's 3 done, with the last one still in there, which was left after parting the last one of these off. I've cleaned up the face of the one in the lathe, just tidied it up. Next thing is the centre drill, drill bigger and ream. So the big drill is just under size for the reamer to take the final cut. So let's give that a go. So that is one finished bush, 3 to go, but you don't really need to see that 4 times. Now, as if by magic, we have 4 of them. Now just time to put them in the axle boxes. Now let's hope this works. So there's the axle box. We've discussed previously where it's been cleaned up with scrapers and things to try and make it as round as possible. What I'm going to do is just start the bearing in here and then go to the vise and squeeze it together. Let's see what happens. There's bearing, axle box. I'm going to start it in. It's squarish. There it is, pushed on, nice and tight. So with bearings in, now it's time to push the wheels onto the axles. So what I'm going to do, I've set up the lathe so it's not gripping. In fact, that needs to be tightened up. So it's not gripping the axle there, and the axle at this end will disappear inside the chuck. So I'm going to get some glue, put it on the axle and then push the wheels on by pushing out the tailstock. So we are back in the workshop, as you see. With that tapped, I want to screw in my piece of stud, but it's previously been snipped off, so it's a bit of a dodgy finish to screw into something. So in the lathe, clean up the end, screw the buffer on, and then I'll also spin the buffer up with some sandpaper and clean up the face. See if we can get it looking a bit better than that rough finish we've got there. So, see how we go. So, as you see, it's not perfect yet. I might go back to it and do it a bit more, but it's certainly a lot better than the one that's straight off the printer. So, 3 more to do. You don't need to see them. Be back shortly. So having done that, I've found some springs, been out to the house, put them in place and trimmed the studs to length. I would have shown you that, but we've got another 3 kids in the house as well as our own, so you did not want to be hearing that. It was bad. So trimmed them to length, but as you can see, where they're trimmed, they're not nice. So just back out here, I'm just going to clean them up with a file until such times as the nut can start on there. Not a lot to see there. I'm just going to file it by hand, probably in my hand, and we'll see where it goes. So, see you in a sec. So, I forgot to take video, but I've just pushed these through with a spring in there and a nut and lock nut, which need doing up properly, but they're all in there now. Next is putting the keeps in. The hole in the frame seems a bit tighter than the hole in the keep. So what I'm going to do is just run it through with a drill to open it out. Drill bit is there. So I can just clean up the hole, put the bolt in and put it all together. And so here it is. We've finished. I haven't put the brake arm on yet, and I haven't put springs, but that is the finished wagon. I need to tighten the nuts up, but that's about it. That finished underframe. Still yet to decide exactly how I'm going to do the body, but it'll probably be something like a 5 plank, so it'll be up here. But that is a relatively lightweight wagon ready to go. So still plastic hooks at the moment, but maybe I'll look at getting that cast in metal or machined. We'll see. I have thought when the body goes on, the base plate of the body will be a piece of ply, maybe 3/4 or something like that, or 1/2 inch. But around here, instead of that plate there, I could put a piece of angle screwed to the bottom of the wood, and that'll hold it in place to begin with. But I could also have these bolts tapped through into that piece of angle. So there we have it, a rolling chassis for a wagon. Next time maybe we'll take a look at some sort of springs for the axle boxes, and a body. So body can start going on, do something with it, and then hopefully we'll have something resembling a wagon to pull around. Probably going to be the only one I make in this gauge, but it was nice doing it. If I had a bigger printer and I could do it in fewer pieces, then yeah, I'd probably do more. But for now, that's fine. So I've proved that I can do it, and that's what I was looking to do. The other thing is having space to put it. Plus, until it's been used for a while, I don't know if it's going to be successful. I had a few questions about tyres. Yeah, at the moment these are just printed PLA plastic tyres, but I figured I could just pop the tyres off and put new ones on if they wear out. They, I could always, if they wear out too quickly, I could replace them with stronger plastic, either ABS for example. Could even go to printed carbon fibre or whatever else you can print these days. Or I could machine some metal ones. But until I've been using this, I don't know how many miles it will do on plastic. So, yeah, that's that. I will catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. And yes, we will see you again soon. So, thanks very much.